That is philosophy. Friedrich Jodl. Ethics without God, freedom without fear. The year is 1849, Munich, Bavaria. Europe is unsettled after revolutions. And Friedrich Jodl is born into a world where tradition and authority dominate the human mind. At the University of Munich, he studies philosophy and psychology. In 1872 he defends his dissertation on David Hume. Hume's radical empiricism teaches him to distrust metaphysics, and to ground knowledge in experience, not speculation. Jodl also absorbs the humanism of Ludwig Feuerbach. Feuerbach declares that theology is anthropology, that divinity is a projection of humanity. From this Jodl learns that ethics must be human-centered, not dictated by priests or sacred texts. By 1885 Jodl becomes professor in Prague. By 1896 professor in Vienna, later dean of the Faculty of Philosophy. In Vienna he fights ultramontanism, the Catholic Church's attempt to control schools and minds. He insists that education must be secular, scientific, and free from clerical chains. His writings are weapons against superstition and dogma. In Geschichte der Ethik, History of Ethics, he traces morality as a living system, not eternal law. In Moral Religion und Schule, he exposes the dangers of religious education. In Wissenschaft und Religion, Science and Religion, he argues for separating knowledge from faith. In Der Monismus, he defends the unity of science and philosophy against dualism and mysticism. Jodl's philosophy is clear. Ethics is responsibility to humanity, not obedience to authority. Morality is a human creation, not a divine decree. Superstition thrives when fear replaces knowledge, when illness is seen as punishment, when suffering is seen as destiny, when authority is mistaken for truth. Beyond the university, he becomes president of the Viennese People's Education Association. He brings philosophy and science to ordinary citizens, believing that enlightenment must not remain locked in ivory towers. He insists that the true task of philosophy is to strengthen self-awareness, to help people see that morality is theirs to create, that freedom is theirs to defend. His influence reaches far. The intellectual climate of Vienna, shaped by his secular ethics and positivism, prepares the ground for the Vienna Circle. Moritz Schlick, Rudolf Carnap, Otto Neurath, all are touched by Jodl's humanism. His insistence that philosophy must be scientific, ethical, and free from dogma. Friedrich Jodl dies in Vienna in 1914, just months before Europe collapses into war. But his ideas live on. In the classrooms he liberated, in the books he wrote, and in the philosophers who carried his torch. This is the philosophy of Friedrich Jodl, a call to build ethics without dogma, a call to educate minds without fear, a call to live with reason, clarity, and responsibility, a call to rise above tradition and create morality through human freedom and awareness. Extended reflections. Jodl's secular ethics were not abstract theory. They were practical weapons against clerical dominance. He argued that morality must evolve with society, that ethical systems are human inventions, adapted to human needs. He rejected eternal commandments, insisting that ethics must be dynamic, responsive, and rooted in human dignity. His positivism aligned philosophy with science. He believed that philosophy must not drift into mysticism, but must remain grounded in evidence and clarity. For Jodl, science and philosophy were not enemies. They were partners in the pursuit of truth. His activism in education was revolutionary. He demanded schools free from religious indoctrination, where children could learn independence, critical thinking, and responsibility. He saw education as the foundation of freedom, and freedom as the foundation of morality. Though overshadowed by later figures, Jodl's legacy is profound. He prepared the intellectual soil for logical positivism in the Vienna Circle. He showed that philosophy could be both ethical and scientific, both human and rational, both liberating and practical. Today Friedrich Jodl stands as a forgotten voice, a philosopher who fought blind belief, who challenged dogma, who built a vision of ethics without fear, and who believed that morality belongs to humanity alone.